Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Miller coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System, and I am back with another episode of Dollar Store Gems. I had so much fun doing that last time, which was like half an hour ago, that I decided to do another one. And I did promise that I was going to come back and do another one. I've seen these things done. People do different things with dollar store finds online so much, and I said I want to do that, so we're going to do that. We're going to do it. Well, I've already done one, and this is going to be the second one, and I think it's going to be fun. As a matter of fact, I know it will. I can't wait to get started. And what we're going to use, I found these neat marbles. I found these marbles at the dollar store, and I thought, wouldn't that make a neat little tiny pendant? You just have to wrap it. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. I love it. It looks like blown glass. And then I also found these little discs that I think that you put in the bottom of aquariums and things like that. And oh, you can see my reflection. And I thought that would make something neat as well. And so we're going to do that. We're going to make a couple of little tiny pendants, or you can use it as earrings. They're small enough for that. I've already done a couple. I'm not going to show you the finished product. I want to show you so bad that I won't. And then you can do what you want with them. You can make little hangings out of them, but honestly, they are tiny and cute, and they would make the cutest little pendants. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And for this project, you're going to need one of those little dollar store gifts that you get in a bag. They have bags of them. Do I have a bag of them around here somewhere? Yep, there we go. I mean, this is just my bag that I put them in. But you get them in these big bags, and the marbles just come like that. Big bag of marbles. And then you need some wire. In this case, I'm using 20 gauge wire and 24 gauge wire, and I'll describe which one is for which actual project in a minute. And then you're going to use your regular pliers. Where am I? Oh, sorry. Round nose pliers, and they are called such because the barrels are completely round all the way around. And then you have what are called chain nose or square nose or flat nose pliers, because they are, although they're slightly rounded on the outside, the inside is perfectly flat. And so if you want to tell the difference between the round and the square, you'll see that this is what that looks like. Round ones are round. The square ones, once you push them together, this inside is completely flat. So that's how you know the difference between the two. And then we have our cutters that we use to cut the wire. You're going to need a ruler, and then you're going to need your beads. I'm going to use one of these flat discs and a marble. That's it. That's all we need. Yay. Okay, so let's get started because I'm so excited to get to work on this. Let's start with this one first. So I'm gonna wrap this little disc into a little pendant. And for that, I'm using 24 gauge wire. And what the first thing that you want to do, because these come in a bag. Where's my camera? These come in a bag, so they are not all the same size. So you want to measure this to see how big. Just measure the circumference of it, just to see approximately how much wire you're going to need. And whatever that circumference is, you should give yourself a good 10 times that amount. So I'm just measuring this with one of those little twist tie things. You can use a piece of string, a piece of yarn, whatever you can do to measure that. So I got here, I've got about 3 inches. So I need 3 pieces of 30-inch 24 gauge wire. So 24. And 30. And I need 3 pieces. And the chances that I will need all this are very slim, but I will have plenty to play with. And I can cut off what I don't need. But it's better to have too much than too little, always. Always better. Ooh, look at that. I had just enough. Okay, so I've got my 3 pieces of wire. And I want to go down about 1/3 of the way down my wire, which is going to be about 10 inches. And then I'm going to take my 3 pieces of wire and I'm going to braid them. And this is a very loose braid, not a tight braid. So I'm just going to braid them together. Okay, let me get them 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's braid these pieces together. A nice loose braid here. And hold on to your braid as you braid so that it doesn't come back loose. I'm just braiding one-handed, as you can see, and it's very loose. I'm just trying to twist together. Don't do that. Okay. My ends are trying to braid themselves together. Where was I? And just keep on going until I get down to the other third. So I'm basically braiding 1/3 of my wire together. Which is about 10 inches. And let's just check it out. I think that might actually be enough, but let's see. Nope, that's not enough. Almost. We're getting there. Okay, let's check it out here. Where's my, there we go. Yeah, let's give it a little more of a braid. If I have too much, I can always take it out. That's not a problem. All right, I think I have enough braid. Yes. So I'm gonna, come on, I'm going to wrap that around my bead loosely. Yeah, and you can see that I have more than enough. Let me bring this down a little closer. Yes. So I have more than enough here of my braid. And I want to make sure that it's a little bigger than the bead because we're going to be wrapping these ends around the bead. So you don't want it to be too tight so that you can't open these little braided sections open. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So it's a little bigger than the bead. Let's get really close so that you can see that the sides are not touching the bead. And what I'm going to do is unwrap some of the braid like I said I was going to do. Okay, and then just wrap one of the tails of wire around the top just to hold it in place. And yes, it's way too big, but it's supposed to be. Something that up a little bit more. Okay, wrap that around the top so it doesn't move. Yeah, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is open up some of the braided part on the sides here. Let's over here real quick. Sometimes I give myself a timer so I don't get too crazy and forget what I'm doing. So let's give myself. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is open up some of these little braided parts. And I will show you why we're doing that. Now you can do that with your fingernails. You can do it with your pliers. We're using 24 gauge wire, so it's really easy to manipulate with your fingers. You don't have to use pliers for this unless you just want to. And there we go. Just open that up. Let's put that back down on the bead. I'm going to squeeze that so it's a little tighter on the bead because this is my frame. Okay. Okay, just wrapping these little edges around the side of my little disc here. So now I have a little frame that's going to hold that in. Like so. Yay. All right, so now I'm going to unwrap this. You have to be careful because this is 24 gauge wire. You don't want to overwork it too much here. And then I'm going to spread my wires out because I need 2 and 2 and 2. Or actually, I could just use what's already braided. I was going to say I'm going to rebraid it. I don't have to. I think I will. Because I think the thicker braid is pretty. So I'm going to take all of the braiding out that I did before. And you don't have to straighten it out because we're just going to rebraid it. So there's no point straightening it and then crimping it again. All right, so there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to braid these 6 rows. I'm just going to braid them up. Braid them together. Just like I did before. Except this time I have 6 instead of 3. Isn't that pretty? Good enough? It depends on how big you want your veil to be, and this is a really small disc, so it doesn't have to be a huge veil. So I'm going to braid it up to about 2 inches. That should give me enough for my veil. Let's give it 3. I can unfurl what I don't want. This could have been tighter, but that's okay. This is very free form, freestyle, organic, and Virginia. Why on camera? My goodness. Okay, there we go. So I've got my braid. So now I'm going to make a veil. But the first thing I have to do is wrap this up because this is not going to stay together if I don't. So I'm going to grab one of the ends of my 24 gauge wire and I'm going to snip it off. I'm just going to snip off a little piece. And I'm going to wrap it around the base of my braid just to hold it together. And you're going to have to hold on to the disc because it's not secure yet. It will be. All right, that end off because I don't need it. Get on there. All right, so now I'm going to bend my braid forward, and I'm going to grab my pliers. Now, normally I would just do this with my fingers, but because this is so small, I'm going to make a little more controlled loop here. I might have to hold that because it might fall out. And I'm just going to make a little bail. Here we go. And I'm going to wrap it. Wrap that braided part around. So I have a nice thick wrap here and a nice braided veil. So there's my little pendant. And now it's time to make it look the way I want it to look. So all I need to do is just spread out my little wraps until they secure my bead. They look nice and pretty. So I'm hold it in. And you can see I have way more wire than I need. Okay, here we go. So there's my little disc. It's all held in place. And so now I need to decide what I'm going to do with all of this wire. So I'm going to unfurl it again. And again, you don't have to straighten it, just leave those little waves in there because they are part of the design, or at least they're part of my design. You can straighten it if you want, but again, it's 24 gauge wire. You don't want to overwork it because it can snap. Okay, there we go. So now what am I going to do with all of this excess wire? Look at all of this wire I had left. Oh, Virginia. The good thing is it is enough that I can do something with down the road. Okay, so I'm going to just make a few little curly cues. So I'm going to snap this off. I'm going to cut this off down to just about 3 inches. And then I'm just going to make some little curly cues. I'm just going to do it with my fingers. Don't have to do anything specific. Just make some little spirals. And as you can see, I'm just rolling the bead around and just wrapping little spirals here. And when I get to the end and I can't go any further, I'm just going to make a little loop and hide that end in my spirals. Just make a little loop and push it down in the spirals. Now I'm going to do the same thing with some of these other wires. I may not do all of them because I don't want to cover the disc up completely. I do want to do a little more, just a little more. Rolling it into little spirals and the top and the front of my bead. Isn't that cute? And then when I can't go any further, I'll just roll that into a loop. Rip off this little excess here. And tuck those ends under inside the other swirls. I don't want any ends sticking out and up. So that's cute, but I have more wire here. So I think I'm gonna do another one. I'm trying to keep it on top so that it's not covering up my disc completely. It's just enhancing its beauty a little bit. I think that's enough. What do you think? I think that's good. Put that back on the other way, just for the heck of it. Ugh, I like it. Snip off this uneven edge here. Make a loop out of both of them and tuck it under. And there's my little, there's my little pendant. There's my little pendant. That is cute. And then if you want to go down here and kind of rearrange your little supports here. There we go. That's cute. And here's the other one I did. This one I did. And I said, well, I can make that into an earring. So there we go. All right. Look at all this wire I had left over. Oh, I'll do something with it. It's too much to waste. Yeah. Okay. Number 2, we're going to do a marble wrap. So again, a marble, it depends on the size of the marble. This one is measuring at about 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to give myself a foot, 12 inches of wire times 3. So I've got 12 inches here, 20 gauge wire. I'm going to go down to the center, which would be at the 6. And I'm going to wrap that. I could wrap this in 20 gauge, but I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of this 24 gauge that I had left over and wrap it. So I'm just wrapping this around to secure it. And I want to make sure that my my pieces of wire are side by side, not all bunched up on each other, so that I can actually count them. 1, 2, 3. Let's wrap that around a few times. And it doesn't have to be many, because this is just to make the wire secure. And I want them to be nice and close together, the wraps. And again, I want to make sure that my wires are not on top of each other. So let's push those wires together. Make sure that the wires are side by side. And see how this has a nice natural curve to it? I'm going to make this where my marble rests, right in here. So I'm going to make sure that the ends of my wire are cut off right there where the marble will be sitting on top of them, so I don't have to worry about any stray ends sticking out and doing damage to my skin or my clothes. Just cut that off. They're nice and close together and push those ends down. Nice and close to the wire. There. I'm still in the center of it. Yes. Okay, so now that I've got my wire bound, where my marble is going to go. Move this wire out of the way. That's where my marble is going to go. Just like that. And let's shape it so it'll fit my marble. And if it's easier, you can shape it around. I don't have anything. You can shape it around your marble, or you can find another cylindrical item or your finger or something like that and wrap it around that. It's probably easier than trying to do it around the marble at first, because the marble's slippery and it's going to move. I'm going to scoot this over because I can see this side's a lot shorter than the other side. So I'm going to scoot that over a bit. And yes, this will shift. Until you get it in place the way you want it. You can move it around. Just look, when the instructor gets very, very quiet and they aren't saying anything. All right. On there, yes, that's good. I'm gonna have to fiddle with it a bit. Till you get it where you want it. That's good. Good. Very good. Very good. All right. So now what I'm going to do is take one of my wires and wrap it around the top here. So one of my wires, wrap it around to hold it into place. Again, make sure it still fits. It does. Wrap it around another couple of times. Yeah. Now, what I want to do now is spread my wires out. And again, I'm making sure that my wires are side by side, not crossed over each other. 1, 2, 3. One side and 1, 2, 3 on the other side. Nicely side by side. Yes. So now I need to open these up because this is going to form a little cage around my bead. So I'm going to spread the little wires apart. Open them up. I can get my finger in there. Here it is. Yes. Around to the other side and do the same thing. Now you can see what we're doing. We're making a little cage. Okay, let's pop my little marble in there. And now let's wrap the cage bars around my bead. So now I have a captured marble. There we go. This one got crossed over, so let's uncross it. We can. It's easy. Easy does it. There we go. And this is where your own vision comes into play. This depends on how you want your boards to look. Do I want a lot of space up here? Do I want it closer to the bead? That's entirely up to you. I can pinch that in and make it closer, or I can keep it far apart. Your vision. Okay, now what I want to do is finish it off. I need to make a bail. Your marble is going to move around a little bit in here, so there's no worrying about front or back or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that because your marble, you can shift it around there in there any way you want. So now I need to make bail. So like I usually do, I'm going to bend my bail forward towards me. I'm going to separate my wires until I find the ones on the inside, and I just need 2 of them. This is a tiny little pendant, so it doesn't need too big a bail. So here are my 2 centermost wires. Let's move the rest of them out of the way. There are my 2 center wires. So I'm going to bend those wires toward me. Grab my round nose pliers, or you can just use your fingers and freestyle it. You really don't need pliers. I'm going to use them. Just slide my wire down toward the back, depending on how big I want my bail to be. It doesn't have to be too large. And then I'm going to wrap the wire around the pliers, like so. And there's my bail. Just a nice little loop. Then I'm going to wrap those wires around the base of my bail. And I'm avoiding the other wires. I don't want to wrap around them as well. And I just need a couple of wraps. It's already going to be nice and full up there. And there's my bail. So now, what do I do with all of these wires? Well, I make little spirals. That's what I do. You don't have to do anything. But me, I like spirals. Let me fix my little bars over here until they look the way I want them. And then let's make some little spirals. I do not need all of this wire. So I'm going to cut it down to about 3 inches. No, 3 inches is more than I need. Let's get it down to about 2 inches all the way around. And it just depends on how big you want your spirals to be. They don't have to be that big because this is tiny. So I'm just going to make some little spirals to put on top. Let's check out the first one. If it seems like I've still got too much wire, I'll cut it down. So all I'm doing is making a little loop. I take the tip of my pliers, grab the tip of my wire, and make a little loop. And then I just wrap the wire around itself. And I think I'm going to make a tight spiral. So once I have my little loop here, I'm going to grab my flat pliers and I'm going to continue to wrap. And I want this to be nice and tight. So I think I wanted to just kind of dance around on the top. And that might be a little more than I need. See, because this is about how big I wanted my spiral to be. So I'm going to cut some of that off. I think I can take that down another inch or so. I'm going to cut that down, cut that little spiral off, cut the rest of them down. So what have I got? About 1.5 inches. Yeah, that's enough. Freeform is very trial and error and artist reliant. So it just depends on what you want your piece to look like. So now let's do this again. Grabbing the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, make a loop, wrap the loop around itself. And then I'm going to grab my flat pliers and continue to wrap. Just spiral around itself. Now, I want to caution you you don't want to grip your wires so tight that you end up with little pock marks in there. I know somebody was asking me, they said, well, what, my wire's always marred. You don't have to hold it in a death grip. 20 gauge wire is this is very soft. I'm using dead soft 20 gauge. So you really don't have to grip it as if your life depends on it, because it doesn't. It's very soft, very malleable. It will do what you want. And there's my first spiral. Okay, let's make another one. Again, tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. Wrap the wire around itself. Then grab my other pliers and continue to wrap into a nice little spiral. And then I can finish it off with my fingers. I really don't have to use the pliers unless I just want to. It's a big enough spiral that I can grasp it with my fingers and do what I want to do. So I'm going to put this one on top. And that's kind of covering up the little wrap of my veil a little bit. So I've got 2 layered little spirals. Let's go do another one. I'm just going to have them all around. Spiral. Have my pliers. Okay, let's continue my spiral with my fingers. And there we go. Have a nice little cluster. And I'm going to go ahead and do the others around the rest of the way. I'm going to do those off camera because you don't need to see me do this 15 billion times. There it is. There's my little pendant, my little marble pendant. Isn't that cute? Where's a piece of wire that I can string this through so you can kind of see what I look like as a pendant. There we go. Ah, there it is. That is so cute. Here's the other one I made. I made it with one of the white marbles. Now, let me turn this light off. It's producing a little more glare than I need. Okay. So there we go. It's the other one that we just did. Isn't that cute? So easy. A nice little caged marble. Let's push these together a little more. Yeah. And this is the other one I made the other day. That's why I said you can either make it a kind of a, this one's a little more of a pear shape. And this one's more rounded. And I push the wires together tighter. So it just depends on how you want it to look. I love it. I love my little pendants. Where's the? Oh, this one's shorter too. Oh, yeah, because I made this one longer in the wrap. I love it. So much fun. Where's the other one? And then here's the one I did today, and here's the one I did the other day. So there we have it. Those are our dollar store treasures. Dollar store gems, I guess I'm calling them. And that is today's tutorial. This one we did. Yeah, that's today's tutorial. Tiny pendants that we can make out of dollar store marbles and discs. What's more fun than that? I don't know. But I'm very happy with the way these turned out. I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope that you'll do this because this is so inexpensive. You go to the dollar store, you get a bag of marbles, and you make this little treasure out of your marbles. Then you can also go to the dollar store and get, where are they? Come out of there. A bag of these discs. And I think these go in the bottom of aquariums or something like that for decoration. And flower vases for decoration. But we're wearing them now. We're going to wear them. So there, this is the one I did in my last video. Thank you. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Just on and on and on. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will let me know one way or the other if you did or if you didn't, and whether or not this is something that you would like to do, because we have free kits, but everybody doesn't have the chance to get them. And I get all kinds of communication from people who say they have a hard time getting certain types of beads and things that are so easy to get here in the United States. If you're in Canada or Switzerland, or where was the last one? France, somewhere in France, Gibraltar. I mean, I've had communications from all over the place from people who are trying to find all kinds of different things that they can use to make interesting pieces of jewelry. I can't really help with that because I'm here in nice little old Decatur, Georgia, where I can get lots of stuff. But I can help those of you who are local or patrons of the library find what you want or what you need. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes I can. And we have kits that are available at our Toco Hills, Decatur, North Lake, and Clarkston libraries. There's a limited a number of them, but they are available for you to pick up and work along with me on the video and make something really pretty. And they will, those of you who get kits today, today's kits, I'm going to give you 2 of these marbles and 2 of these discs, so you can decide whether or not you want to wear it as a pendant or as an earring, because they will work either way. They're not too heavy. They will work either way. So you'll have the wire that you need, you'll have the marbles and the discs, and that's really all you need for this project, and in addition to your normal tools. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll get in contact with me and let me know how you did or didn't enjoy this so that I can improve if it's something that I can do better. My email is jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's jewelrygin20@gmail.com. The kits are free. The tutorials are free, always. There is never any charge for this. You can also get in touch with the library or like what you see from the videos and leave comments on the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/DeKalbLibrary. That's facebook.com/DeKalbLibrary. Let us know what you think, because we love to hear from you. And I love to see it when you send me pictures of the things that you've made from the tutorials. That just makes my day every time. So please do. Please contact me either of those ways and let me know what it is we're doing right, what it is we're doing wrong, and what more we can do for you. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.